What's going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republics off the air Tuesday. Always following NXT. What a crazy weekend! What a crazy weekend. First, I do have to give a shout out to the Tuesday Night Delight himself. He's out there on the cruise. We miss you, buddy, but me and Dryzzy are back at it again. Dryzzy, I'm sorry, that was one of my weakest intros ever. But I got to send it out to Louisville. Driz, we've been hanging all weekend long. What a wild week it's been.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in. No, there is not a lot of energy. We have been going strong since Friday night. Afternoon. I'm sorry, Friday afternoon.
It
Just
was morning my time.
yeah, it's morning for him. So it was like 11 a. It was 11 a.m. for me. So that's what 7 for you. Like,
Yeah,
woo.
it was yeah, it was early. It, I mean, what a weekend, Driz.
It's
Like,
been a long, long weekend. So much wrestling. Oh, we have literally touched every aspect. Wrestling Republic
yes,
as a whole touched every single aspect of wrestling that was happening this weekend, from GCW, Ring of Honor, WWE, AEW, everything.
dude, it's crazy to think about too, like the amount of shows reviewed, talked about, discussed on air, the amount of people that tuned in. Like, it meant the world. It was
Yes.
so fun this weekend. Like, you, that's what this is why we do it, right? Like, it was all you could ask for and more
Yes.
in so many ways. And 2 nights of mania, stand and deliver. We're gonna get into NXT here shortly. Even my mom's got her twos up, by the way. Shout out, Shoddy. I love that. Love you, mama. No doubt about it. But yeah, like it was. It doesn't get much more fun. The night one post show with you and Carter and Co was a blast. Night two with Savannah, an absolute pleasure. Like, so much fun. All of it was gold.
Yes.
Um, like, just the whole weekend. It Speaking of standing and delivering, it stood up and it delivered. There's no doubt about it. Like,
Yes.
wrestling's so back. That's the way I signed off on the Sunday show. But let's get into today's show. Let's talk about it, because we're still going. We're still back. It don't stop, does it? Like, it never
Like,
does.
not one bit. Does not slow down. Not at all. At all.
And not in the least. Oh, we've got another comment here from Joel Robinson or Robertson. I'm sorry. So sorry about that or whatever. The
It's Joel.
Joel. There we go.
Shout out
Lost your shout out.
GST. Shout out GST in the building.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Okay. So we're still back already. We're back to sorry, one more comment here. We got Tink 2254 with what's up, guys? What is going on?
Yo.
Tink, good to have you as always. But dude, we saw the main event Saturday, and it was nothing short of electric. Trick Williams.
This is Trick Williams. This
It's
is the crowd in the palm of his hand.
You can't even, like, it's hilarious because they Anthony was telling me a story earlier today at the venue, like between stuff during commercial stuff. They played Trick's music, whole crowd
Believe it.
singing the song. Like, it's he's that over
And
tonight. No better way to end the show.
he's their main eventer.
It
He's their guy now. He's big, and at that we can say this. He's bigger than the main event guy, who is Ilya Dragunov, the world champ. And
it's
that's not a
true.
knock to Ilya. I mean, it's not a knock to Ilya in any way, form, or fashion, because Ilya is great. But there's just this je ne sais quoi about Trick Williams that just commands a room. It just you pull he everything about him just pulls you into him. He has that connection that people like The Rock have, people like Shawn Michaels have. Like
Yes.
you can't help but be enamored by his aura.
And it's crazy to me because it's something that I feel like I can't exactly put my finger on when it started because Carmelo built a heck of a foundation for Mellow Trick and all of that.
Hmm.
And that's what made this rivalry so great. But at some point, Trick Williams, the switch flipped. Like it was official. And
And I think it partially has to do with Carmelo. I do
yeah,
believe that Carmelo is so good at this that he knows what buttons to push to make you love Trick even more. Like, yes, Trick has everything. He's the Swiss Army knife when it comes to charisma. But the same can be said about Carmelo Hayes. He
so
has
true.
the exact same attributes. And in fact, since he's been doing it a little bit longer, he knows a little bit more on how to make you hate him. You're like, granted, yes, he is the heel, but he does cool stuff. So it makes it hard to boo him. Like you boo him because you know you're supposed to, but
Yep.
he is just so good and smooth in the ring.
And to your point, it is super fascinating. Like if you stand them next to each other for like a photo shoot, right? Like a pre-match photo shoot. Trick is the more physically imposing, bigger dude.
Mm,
And that's where, to your point about Mello being able to do it all, I mean, as the smaller guy, never to me in this rivalry has looked like he's fighting from underneath.
ever.
That's brilliant,
Hmm.
right? Like it's always been the threat of Mello, and he's just that crazy. He's just that during this storyline, at least, self-obsessed, right? Like it all adds up perfectly. And that's where it was funny because the way we both reacted to the main event watching it live, right? It watching it, it was like, wait, so this is essentially a loser leaves town match?
Yeah.
Not necessarily though yet. Now then the cage match idea, I'm like, are we gonna see a triple threat in 2 weeks? Because to me, it was as funky as could be when and we both had very similar reactions. Speaking of, at that time, when Dragunov said no
Yeah.
to Trick.
That threw everybody off.
Yeah, and it was like, wait a minute, he's got to like renegotiate, and then
but
they
his
do.
reasoning made sense though.
It did.
It is a lot. It made logical sense, not wrestling sense, but it made logical. Like no
It
wrestling
did.
sense. Like oh, you want a rematch? Well, you got to go through so and so. No, his made logical sense. You lost clean. There was no interference, no shenanigans. Not even you were sick or anything. You lost straight up. It's time to give
Yes,
somebody else a shot. If you want this match, you're gonna have to go big or go home, literally.
and that's where it's. I love that too. After last night's Raw, it did throw me. I'm like, talk about flights. They all had to be on the same flight, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I was stoked that we got both uh Ilya and Roxanne on tonight's show. I was like,
Mm.
now we're
Yeah,
talking. Like,
yeah. I didn't think they were gonna be there.
yeah, that is a big move back from Philly
Hmm.
to be on all those shows. It's something that it was interesting. We talked about like briefly on the daily. I thought it was really cool. We had both NXT champs on Raw last night and on NXT tonight still.
Hmm.
Like that is it, I said it earlier on the daily about Raw. Did not expect them to show up tonight.
Hmm.
And we got that. That is so cool out of I think both Roxanne and um
Ilya, it's
and Ilya. Thank you. Yeah, like
historically you don't get that on NXT after like the nights after. Normally, the way it normally goes, the go home show normally isn't the greatest show. It's
right.
very hit or miss because your big stars most of the time aren't there. They're on en route ahead of everybody doing press for the actual PLE. Then the PLE, amazing from start to finish. Then the one after is normally a little bit of a sluggish one too, because again, all your stars are en route trying to get back to Orlando so they can be ready for the next week. But this one, we had just about all of our big stars. Roxanne was there, Lyra was there, uh, Mello, Trick, Ilya, like they all showed up. Even all your champions were there.
It across the board, like the whole. I mean, even the Wolf Dogs showing
Mhm.
up, obviously huge. Breaker, like every name you could assume is a threat or a candidate to be called up to the main roster was on tonight's Tuesday night show. And that blew me away.
Shoot,
Like,
even with some of the main roster,
yes.
which we'll get into.
And Ivar, thank you. Yeah,
Yep.
we will absolutely get into that. Now, obviously, we've got this cage match next week. Mello, Trick, two essentially in the
Mhm.
cage. Got to get your pick. Early prediction, Driz.
I am going with a stalemate. I believe that this is going to be another one of those situations because they do NXT has been doing such a good job with unique finishes. This is the one time that I do believe that we're going to get somebody sneak out the cage and somebody climb at the same time and both feet hit at the exact same time. No, this isn't a number one contenders match, but essentially I think it pretty much counts as one because these are your two guys that most likely will be facing Ilya for a title. And if you can't make your mind up on which one, why not put them both in?
Driz, I was about to go full Howard Finkel there and go, both feet must touch the floor.
Like
And
that's what needs to happen. Like both feet must touch the floor.
yeah, and just like have it be muddy, like it happens at the same time. It's so close. Like there's
We
got
could
to
even
be,
we could even get to a point where they're fighting on the side of the cage because this feud warrants it. They could be fighting on the side of the cage and pull a Ambrose Rollins and both go falling at the same time.
I'm also wondering though, from a heel perspective, maybe we do one of those uh side of the cage falls.
Hmm.
Maybe you have Ilya pull Mello off the side of the cage.
Possibly, we could even have Ilya just go in the cage and wreck everybody.
That too. There's so many possibilities. I'm
Yes.
also wondering if we're gonna see some sort of old school, big show debut. We've seen Taker do it. Maybe through the ring.
Yeah.
Somebody through the ring. Who knows? Maybe a carrying cross. Inserting himself into the title picture. We saw AOP tonight. It's just I'm spitballing here at this
Yeah, we
point.
seen the
Way to do
entire.
it.
We had a lot of main roster tonight. We had Ivar in front, Obafemi. We had the Final Testament attack. Well, the winner. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
And we also had Natalia, who had a match tonight as well.
Natty on the card. Like it was a cool card. It
Hmm.
is interesting. It does very much feel like a pivot after this weekend. In some ways, this feels very the full Triple H era.
Hmm.
Everybody's working everywhere. Like there's a lot of things that look really good for WWE.
Yes.
They did some smart stuff in the last 4 or 5 days.
Hmm.
There's no doubt about that. It's like we got not to beat a dead horse here, but like you mentioned it earlier, not every post PLE show for NXT is great. They
Hmm.
hit just like not every Raw after Mania is either, right? They've been hitting the high notes
Yep.
lately here. Um, Now, speaking of high notes, it is Tuesday, and
He's not even here. How did this happen?
I know she still made the card. Shout out, Shoddy. We miss you, buddy, but yeah, the fact that this made the show is really just for you, Shot. I'm kidding. Tatum Paxley
So
turns on Lyra Valkyria. Drizzy.
so the moment it happened, I got this message on Twitter from Shad, who is supposed to be on vacation at this moment in time. Drizzy, what Tatum did was justified. If you're confused about what we're talking about, Tatum Paxley officially, I don't want to say it's a turn, but she's trying to do what she thinks is best for Lyra. And she then proceeded to take Lyra and toss her into the stairs, although she still has a messed up arm. I it, we've been calling for this for a while now, but we didn't think it was gonna be. We thought it was gonna be. It drives her mad to the point where she's the one who ends up taking the belt off of Lyra. It's not what we're getting. We're getting more of a I need to do this to protect you. I forget. It's a. I want to say it's an Edgar Allan Poe book or a Stephen King. I'm not 100% sure which one. Where a crazy fan is holding a writer hostage to write a book. That's what vibes this is getting. I'm pretty sure I'm speaking in tones that only old people understand, but
No,
it is
I
it
hear
is
you.
it is, it is a very very old analogy that they put in a lot of stuff, and it looks like one of those things that Shawn Michaels would do.
it, it, it it's so true. And yeah, no, I'm with you. Spot on. Like, and I mean, Lyra, like losing the title, I understand is a tough thing to come back from. To seamlessly go into this. This is one
Mhm.
of the best follow up, ready made storylines you can think of out of the weekend. It's sublime. Like the booking is sublime when it comes to this.
And
And
that's the beauty of the
excuse
NXT
me.
women's division. They have so many different stories just ready to go at a moment's notice. We're not going to talk about it tonight, but we just talked a little bit about the depth of how long the Thea Hale JC James storyline has been going on.
Yes.
We just found out tonight as well that been booked since the Great American Bash before JC even joined up in this storyline.
2 year story. To your point, right? Like it's like a 2 year story, not literally, but like figuratively speaking, like it's been ages
Like
since
it's
the bash.
Yes, and that's how long they've been building this one. And at the exact same time, that's how long they've been building this Lyra and this Roxanne feud, this story. Like
Yes.
all this, like it feels like the entire women's division has been booked like a whole year out. It's almost some New Japan wrestling stuff.
It is wild how inconcise it's been.
Hmm.
The logic and how everything adds up. It's like, whoa. Shawn Michaels, 2 thumbs up right there, right? Like
HBK got the pad. He writes out for the whole
he
year. He be writing out a whole year's worth of stories for these women.
knows what he's doing, no doubt about it. We got it in the comments here. We've got Triple L Nails 22 with Hey Dre. What's going on? Thank you so much for joining. And then we've also got Jordan Kirby with Does Trick beat Dragon off for the NXT title?
Mm,
Ooh, I don't know. I hope so, but like
I
I
don't
have a
know.
weird feeling.
This is a tough one because it's the one feud that we cannot put our finger on because yes, Trick is hot, but Ilya is hot in a different way.
Yes. I have a weird and sorry, my allergies are bugging me. That's why I keep having to mute here. But like I'm for me, I have a weird feeling this is how Mello wins the title again. And
Mm,
we have Mello Trick for the title in the rubber match somehow.
mm,
I don't know. Like it's like Trick should is the answer to the question,
mm.
but in a weird way, we're gonna have another PLE here soon.
April 23rd and 30th. That is spring breakout.
Right. And so I'm wondering 2 weeks. No, see, that's live TV. I'm talking, I think there's gonna be a stand and deliver where
Oh, I
this
think
would
it's
be the main event.
Battleground.
Battleground, right? That
Yeah,
would be what, June, July?
I think so.
And that's where I think mellow robbing trick of that. So like evening the score without evening the score.
Mm,
That's something that I've kind of been like, that would make a lot of sense here. Like Mello, obviously with the attack to end the show tonight, still it's still running with him and Trick. To
mm,
have Trick then get the second moment, another main event, but to win the title, I
mm,
like that. I like that idea a lot
mm,
myself. Now, who knows?
mm.
Right? Like I do,
Endless possibilities. Endless possibilities.
I do think it's got to be a triple threat, though.
Mm,
I do think both Mello and Trick need to be in that match.
mm,
Because, see, I'm not ready for Mello to be on the main roster full time right now because the Trick Mello is not over. Obviously, after what we saw last night, right? It's just it's not. There's too many stones left to turn over.
I don't know. With the draft coming up, it very well may be. And you know how normally those will go. You'll have a grace period to finish up anything until it's time for rosters to be set with that imaginary line that we try to acknowledge that doesn't really exist.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is. I actually hope I have a feeling Triple H might get that right this year. Right? Like finally
We
we
can only hope.
actually we
We can hope.
actually have like separate rosters there. We've also got the twos up from Joseph Martin. Thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, twos up always. Um okay,
All right,
but let's
we gotta get back on track. We got way
yeah.
off.
Sorry, that's my fault too. I got all distracted. It's been a long week. We talked about this at the beginning.
It really has.
Let's talk Roxanne and Natty Neidhart. Natalia Natty. I ran into her a year ago, 6 days ago at CVS. Could not have been nicer. Monster shout out Natty. But Roxanne and Natty, after the Pop Rocks, Roxanne delivered to win the title this weekend after she delivered on television last night on Raw. Lola Vice
Mm.
on the run in. I love it. Valerie Laredo. I love it. Lola Vice, push her to the moon as the next challenger. But I was kind of shocked to see Natty. But also, for me, Bell to Bell, one of Natty's best matches in a while. Right, Driz? Like that.
I I've been like Natty hasn't been doing. That's one thing about Natty. She never has bad. Like I can't name a bad Natty match, and this is right up there with it. And I think there's just more chemistry between Natty and some of the younger girls. Like her and Roxanne really had a really good match, and also uncharacteristically for Natty, they had a good interaction beforehand to set this up. Um, Lately, Natty has been a lot better about what she's been doing. I don't know if she's doing anything different, but she's been a lot more intriguing. It hasn't been boring promo wise, but she's always very good in the ring. And today they matched. And having Lola be the one who cost Natty that match, it fits. I mean, and Natty's down there teaching now, it looks like she's giving to the future. And having someone like Lola be your feud, this is only going to make Lola look bigger and better as a star, which she kind of already kind of is. Virally, she is top of the line when she's one of the more searched girls in NXT. But giving her Natty as a good foe to ping pong off of, it can only make her better.
Yeah, I'm so with you there too. And honestly, Natty born to be a coach.
And
Like
I wonder if Natty being in NXT locker room with the younger girls is kind of rubbing off on her to just be. I don't know what she's doing different, but she's been a lot more intriguing.
it's like she looks inspired, is what the way
Yeah.
I would put it, right? Like she definitely looks inspired. Like not like, I don't want to sound super corny, but like new life has been breathed into her like wrestling
Exactly.
journey there, like similar to like even like you look at TJ, you know what I mean? Like Tyson
Hmm.
Kidd, her husband, his injury was super tragic, right?
Hmm.
When he started coaching other wrestlers and really working with a lot of wrestlers, you could tell the entire demeanor would change. You could tell in interviews, right?
Hmm.
In a weird way, they've always been such a perfect fit together. I think Natty has a lot of that too, and I think yeah, that's the best way I could put it. Is she looks inspired in a
Like,
way that she hasn't in a while, right? Like
hmm,
reinvigorated.
yep. Like easily, she could go another 20, 30. Plus, she looks great.
And she looks great and looked great in the ring
Hmm.
tonight. There's no doubt about it. And speaking of looking great in the ring, this one kind of this one kind of caught me off guard. I did
This
not expect
one,
this.
this one was strictly for me and Clark.
Literally, Brinley Reese and Jada Parker. Jada, I knew could go. She's looked great for weeks. Brinley, I was blown away by in this match.
Hmm.
I thought she looked the best she's looked on screen yet in the ring. Not just now, the gear was hilarious, obviously, because you and I talked about that off
We
the air.
Yeah, that was
But like
one.
the gear was
That
a
was
bit,
It literally looks like one wrong turn and everything is coming off. It is, yeah. It was
yeah.
it's we were concerned for a wardrobe malfunction.
We were one mistake away from a Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction scenario, without a doubt.
But
It was
I absolutely agree. Brindley Reese, it looks better every time we see her in the ring. Her character is infectious. I think aesthetically, her and Lola Vice, not Lola Vice, Soul Ruka would make a great tag team because Brindley showed power that we haven't seen in previous matches. Like
yep.
she's got the energy, but now she's putting power into everything she's doing, and a little bit can be said the same about Jada Parker as well. She's putting more power. She's putting more emphasis in her movements. She's putting more force in everything. And I don't think they've quite found a finisher for her, but a lot of things that she does has a lot of intensity that could be a knockout blow. Like this tonight, we saw her with a hip attack, and we've seen how lethal hip attacks can be. This one knocked Brinley out.
Jada can go. I
Yes.
think that's one thing like that should not be overlooked, right? To your point. Like you said, the hip attack money. But Jada can like it's not just the OTM, it's not just the personality, it's not just all of that. Jada can really, really, really go.
Hmm.
And I'm interested to see more matches. What I loved about this one is it felt like they really got the time.
Hmm.
This was not a short match.
Yeah, it wasn't rushed. They had time to. They put the steak on and they let it cook for a little bit.
Yes.
Now, it wasn't a
Like
prime rib or nothing, but it was a little bitty in New York strip. It was a little 6 ouncer. They let it go.
it worked. It worked. Yeah, and they served it proper too, right? Like it wasn't too tough, but it worked. I I
Mhm.
I, I totally agree. Like, and I think again, we say it all the time, not to sound like a broken record, but best women's division wrestling. It
Yep.
really is. It
Like
really is
we
the
need to
way
go ahead
it's
and put it on a
booked.
shirt. We did go ahead and put it on a shirt at this point because I feel like we're saying it every single week, and they prove it every single week.
It's so true, and it's like it. I don't want to say it doesn't matter who's champion because it does. That's what makes the division so great. But the amount of turnover to be able to accomplish what NXT has with this division is what to me is like most impressive. And you're looking at the names that have gone to the main roster
Hmm.
over the last few years, and they're immediately gone, and it's refill, replenish, rebuild every time, and it doesn't feel like it's pushed to the side ever or like we're waiting on the big star to save it.
Like everything feels like a living organism. Everything
Yeah.
has its own thing that it's doing. Like you said, we have Jada Parker and Brentley Reese over here. We had Roxanne over here. We have Lyra and Tatum over here. We have Sol Ruka and uh, I want to call it B Priestley so bad. Blair Davenport here.
Blair Davenport.
There are
That's
so we have Thea Hale and JC James here. Uh Kiana and Izzy, Fallon and Kalani. Like there's everybody has their own feud, everybody has their own motivation. Everything is its own living thing and it doesn't revolve around the women's title.
Yes, 100%. That was hilarious though, because I was about to say be a Brucey myself, and then
Like it kills me trying to get the indie names right from the NXT name. And she's been in NXT for about 2 or 3 years now. So there's no excuse on my part.
no, it's all good. Like, yeah, it's been that's like to me with like Sean Spears, Ty Dillinger. I was so like, thank goodness they went Spears and
Yes.
not like I'm like, stop it, don't keep changing.
Yeah.
Keep one. Okay, speaking of changes and things that we did not see coming. Dude, we have new tag champs.
Yes.
What in what? What? The Wolf Dogs. The Wolf Dogs, that's our everything. They look unbelievable on Stand and Deliver. We're ready. It's the team is as strong as could be. They're unbeatable. We got sweet t-shirts. Even now, like
T-shirts, got mashup entrances. They're mad like they're a team. I almost had matching tights the other day.
ready to go. And Axiom and Frazier, as I like to call them, the Heritage Cup Club. Like, because that's what I know them from history wise. Axiom and Frazier, get the job done. What in the world?
Like it's wild. Normally when you get these matches, it it looks like there's gonna be it's normally not a title match, it's just a hey, we're gonna run it back just to see what happens, just to see if they can gain some type of dignity. And the match almost played out exactly how I did at the pay-per-view. Axiom and those kicks are so lethal. He's legit knocking out Breaker every time he kicks him. Frazier flying all over the place. They did multiple suicide dives back to back to back. And it's like every time they do one, they push Corbin further and further up the aisle, and they're leaping and making it that far. Like Frazier and Axiom are a good team. Now, granted, we complained about them being a thrown together team, but they still did look good together.
Yeah.
I would like to say that this. So I think last week I said that when they win the titles, this will be the rebirth of the new tag division, and you kind of are going to see that now. I do believe that Breaker and Corbin are going to be gone, and we're going to get another year maybe of Action and Frazier in NXT. But this is a good team to build a division around. Now we got you have the Good Brothers who have been down there. You have the LWO who seem to have been down there on a consistent basis, pulling double duty on SmackDown and NXT. OTM who we've seen tonight for the first time in a while. Chase U whenever their story with Thea Hale and JC James is over and done with. You just Inofe and Blade, you have a good amount of teams to deal with. And as we've seen at the end of this match, you now can add AOP in the final testament to that list as they came out and attacked Axiom and Frazier at the end of the match. This is a healthy, breathing next generation of a tag team. Although a bit of a transition when it comes to tag teams because you do have a lot of main roster teams that look like they're just trying to get get the wheels going again, but you have good teams to build around for a while.
I totally agree too. And it's interesting too, because you had Imperium we saw last night on Raw,
Hmm.
right? Like the tag division thing has been held up since last year.
Yep.
If we're gonna be totally honest, like it has. There's only the two real main roster belts that mattered the most. All of that. I was completely stunned though by this loss.
Mhm.
I really did not see it coming. But to your point, AOP, you can't. The list does not stop. of teams. What I gotta ask you though, Driz, is this the end of the Wolf Dogs? Like, they just branded all of this because we named all those other teams. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting there and I'm like, but wait, what are we doing with Corbin? And is that
I,
it or no?
I don't think this is the end of the Wolf Dogs. This would be a good time to send Court because Breaker signed to SmackDown, right?
That's right.
This is a good time to go ahead and send them up. You just got SmackDown tag titles back again. You're gonna need a good. Can we call them a face team at this moment in time? Because they haven't done anything heelish. They've been pretty face
Yeah.
since they've been in the classic.
Thus
Let's
far, they're likable.
Yeah, so this is a good team that A Town Down Under can face on the main roster. The LWO is SmackDown. That's another one they can face. Um, I guess we're calling them Legato, the new Legato del
Yeah.
Fantasma. Another team for them to face. The SmackDown tag team roster just gets heavier and heavier when you add the Wolf Dogs into it.
No, I love that too. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and it's so funny because I think I maybe was so hung up on like the truth and Miz aspect of winning. Like I keep forgetting that it's
Like there's
like
other there's other belts on the other show too.
like I had to even joke with Kobe. I was like, dude, you had to review it. Was that one or two matches? Like, how
That is
did you
a
review that?
That is a legitimate question because how do you sit there and do that?
Yeah, like, wait a minute. Was that one or two? Like, I'm not even sure. And he was like, I rated it as one, but I had the same thought, and I was like, that's hilarious. I mean, the tag division part of it, that was my favorite part of the deal. Well, that and the hot tag and
Yeah, the hot tag and ladder match. Whew.
so good, so good, comedy gold. I mean, even like yesterday with we've been on a roll going through today, right? Like
Mm,
even yesterday with Truth out there with Cena, like childhood hero. Come on,
childhood.
It's- never gets old.
When are we gonna stop this facade? When are we gonna He's older than John Cena.
10 years older.
I have to
No,
put that out there because I feel like there's gonna be a whole generation that our truth really looks up to John Cena, his childhood hero. Our truth is at least a good 10 or 15 years older than John Cena.
no, that was like honestly the part that stole the show for me when it came to that was uh Damian Priest with the line of the century. Just like Truth looks at him and is like saying that he won the titles for the Judgment Day, even though he won them from the Judgment Day
Uh,
as a member. And Priest looks at him and goes, "Stop! We're not doing this again." It's like,
it's
please
hilarious.
no.
Like that's the reason why Damian Priest dashes her purple because our truth is giving him grays.
Literally, he's like, "No, dude, please stop. No,
Like we're not doing
we're
this. Stop.
not in the Judgment Day." Like,
Like we're done with this.
too dang funny. Okay, well, oh wait, no, this is speaking of funny in the comments, we've got Tick 2254 added. At least Truth is 50 or 51. I'm like, yeah, no,
Yes,
he's plenty older.
he's a
Between
significant amount older.
his childhood hero and little Jimmy, it's all time. And then we got Joseph Martin with facts, LOL. And then Melanie Grant added the old Driz emoji, basically. I'm
We're gonna call it the Drizmer. That's my emoji now.
yeah,
Like I got that. That's me.
that's it's all Driz. But the okay, let's talk about our last topic of the evening here though. But Javon Evans debut against Scripps.
That man is amazing in ring.
Yep.
Now I know him as Jay Malachi. It's gonna take me a while to get used to this Javon Evans, but that man and the camera angles to go along with the flying that he does. I we saw a little bit of it last night on Raw with the at the Rhea Ripley Liv Morgan attack where they're using this camera angle to kind of go flying through to something else, and they used it tonight when Javon was leaping over the top rope, and you're under him and see him flip over the ropes. That is such a cool angle, and it's going to be something that grabs so many young kids. Him as a whole is such an exciting wrestler. He gives uh oh, Rascal. uh,
Yes.
what are we calling him now? I want to call him by his indie name so bad.
Like not Nash Carter. Well, Wesley.
Wesley, yes, Wesley.
Thank you. Sorry.
I
Wow, that
cannot
was bad.
I can't get NXT names for nothing today. But that it gives it's gonna be such an exciting thing when you get him in the ring with people like Nathan Frazier, when you get him in the ring with people like uh Axiom. If we even get a Ricochet match, we'll be lucky. But one thing that I did not know I needed until tonight was Scripps versus Javon Evans. And Scripps may have stolen the show from him. Yes, this was a Javon Evans showcase match, but Scripps was absolutely amazing in this match. And I'm so happy to have seen his growth from being the uh what was he? He was a
Sommelier.
sommelier, from being a
Sommelier.
sommelier who didn't do anything but flip
Yeah.
into a rugged, just brawler who can do flips out of nowhere. He still kept the finesse when he does his flips, when he does his moonsault. It still looks like the prettiest thing in the world, but he was able to add that rugged Scripps nature to it. I
Dude, there were
absolutely
parts. No, like I was so blown away. Like there were parts of this match athletically where I was like, dude, this is like throwing two bouncy balls in an empty fishbowl. Like it's
like
like the speed that they both operate at. And to your point, Scripps has evolved so much. It's like it's hard to quantify how athletic this match was, even for how short it was.
like this match was all of maybe 8 minutes, but the two of them bounce so well off each other. You could tell the chemistry is there. I want them to revisit this at a PLE. They have to let Scripps get even more. He Scripps is only going to get better. He's only going to get better. Javon is already good. Once he gets that WWE style down, it's going to be a instant classic.
no doubt. Yeah, like I mean, the Javon looked outstanding in this, but I like also not to like keep harkening back to Scripps. The evolution though, from Reggie Scripps, like the even the initial mask gimmick,
Hmm.
he's been saddled with some tough stuff to come back and look this good like he did in this one, which was really about Javon Evans. It was
Hmm.
not about Scripps tonight. I was blown away by too. Like in general, that I'm excited for. I think Scripps Reggie right deserves.
This definitely, if I was booking this, this would not be who I would put him in the ring with. I would have put Javon Evans in the ring with like maybe a No Fay,
Yeah,
maybe one of somebody from the family, like somebody who could eat a loss. I really feel like Scripps was doing such a good job in the ring. It kind of took away from Javon Evans.
I agree. I agree. In a weird way, it did. It did to me too. And the match, I like you kind of just said there, and like we're both just insinuating, like it was supposed to be about Javon,
Hmm.
right? Like that's what it was about. Scripps, in a roundabout way, stole the show. Not that he like stole the entire show tonight, but like he looked as good as I think he's looked bell to bell yet
Hmm.
at this point. In his NXT career. I mean, NXT always delivers. They stood and delivered this weekend. You and I broke it down. It was a blast. Tonight's show was a blast. I know you and I are both just out here absolutely
Frazzled, frazzled.
exhausted. exhausted, ready to go to bed. We got to thank everybody that's tuned in, though. Seriously, on behalf of me and Driz, Off the Air, Shoddy, all of us, thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do. We'll see everybody soon. Tuesday night, same time, same place. We've got more stuff coming up, new stuff coming up. That's going to be awesome. Check out the daily broadcast, all of it. Have an awesome Tuesday night. Thank you so much as always. And we'll talk to everybody soon.